Imagine this. You're standing in a kitchen after a date you paid for, washing 2 wine glasses she barely touched, replaying every line you said. You were careful to be polite, thoughtful, available, agreeable, nice. You texted, "Did you make it home safe?" within 5 minutes. You followed with a meme. You said, "No pressure about seeing her again." In the quiet clink of glass against sink, you feel it, the emptiness that follows performance. Days pass. Her replies become shorter, later, lighter. You tell yourself she's busy. You send another check-in to prove you're the reliable guy. She posts a story with friends. You answer with a fire emoji you'd never use in real life. You're not being yourself, you're campaigning, and the worst part? You know it. That's the emotional trap. The nice guy isn't actually kind. He's strategic, but in the weakest way. Offering approval in exchange for attention, overgiving to buy desire, avoiding conflict to prevent rejection. It's a covert contract. If I'm endlessly accommodating, you'll want me. She can feel the contract even if you never say it. It makes your energy sticky. It makes her pull away. Here's why the pattern holds power over you. First, being always available is a sugar rush. It temporarily reduces anxiety because you feel useful. Second, you think avoiding tension keeps connection alive, but it kills attraction. Desire needs friction. Third, you confuse agreement with compatibility, so you nod through opinions you don't share, laugh at jokes that don't land, and accept plans you don't want. You're selling a version of yourself that even you wouldn't buy. She reads the subtext, no boundaries, no mission, no edge, and her nervous system classifies you as safe but not compelling. When she senses your need, she unconsciously tests it. Slower replies, vague plans, subtle withdrawals. Not to be cruel, but to feel your center. If your center collapses, the test is answered. She doesn't need to analyze. She just feels her desire dim. The internal cost is brutal. You betray yourself in small ways and call it being a good guy. You carry resentment for the dinners you funded, the hours you spent texting like a customer support agent, the energy you poured into solving a puzzle you created. You become hyper-focused on her signals and blind to your own. Your hobbies go quiet, your workouts get shorter, your sleep gets worse. You spiral. What did I do wrong? It's not what you did. It's what you kept doing after your instincts told you to stop. The shift begins when you understand this. Attraction is not negotiated. It is sensed. You don't talk a woman into wanting you. You live in a way that lets her feel you. That means no more campaigning, no more covert contracts, no more being nice as a tactic. Replace it with grounded clarity. You lead, you invite, and you release. You invest at parity, no more, no less, until reality proves momentum. You never chase words, you respond to behavior. You accept loss as the price of standards, and you never punish withdrawal. You mirror it with calm indifference and return to your life. Here's how that looks today. Not in theory, but in your actual hand and mouth. If she replies slowly or vaguely, you stop pouring energy into the void. You match her pace without attitude. Your next message is simple. Good to hear from you. Let's grab Matcha Thursday at 7 East Side. If that's not your thing, no worries. That sentence does 3 things. It leads with a clear plan, it shows decisiveness, and it removes pressure while preserving your frame. If she says maybe, circles, or plays calendar gymnastics, you don't negotiate your value. You reply, all good, ping me when your week settles. If not, be well. Then you leave it. Not a flinch. You don't use silence to manipulate, you use it to respect reality. If she withdraws as control, last-minute cancels, breadcrumbing memes, flirty banter with 0 plans, you call the pattern, not the person. You're fun, but I don't do endless chat. Let's meet or we keep it light. If that turns her off, she wasn't on your frequency. If it turns her on, she'll lean in because your clarity creates polarity. When you're tempted to overinvest, run the parity check. Have you sent 2 messages for everyone she sends? Close your phone. Have you proposed more than 2 plans with no momentum? Stop proposing. Have you shared a vulnerable story before she's even shown consistency? Save it. Intimacy is a ladder. She climbs with you or she doesn't. Your job is to place the next rung, not to carry her. You also need boundaries with time, or your emotions will run the show. Set 2 daily windows for messaging. One midday, one evening. Outside those windows, keep your phone face down. If she texts during your gym hour, you finish your set. If she calls while you're in flow, you call back when you're done. You are not rude, you are rooted. That signal is unmistakable. And when you do respond, bring substance. Ask one real question, offer one concrete plan, or share one piece of your world. If she contributes energy, you meet it. If she doesn't, you step back and return to your mission. Training, building, learning, leading. The man who stops being nice in the performative way becomes genuinely kind because he's honest. He says, I like you. I'm not rushing. I'm direct. If that works, great. If not, no hard feelings. He does not perform warmth, he chooses it. He does not fear her choices, he respects them. He does not negotiate attraction, he protects his center. And paradoxically, that's what draws her. The sense that you're already full, and she's invited, not required. Have you ever caught yourself sending one more message just to feel less anxious? What was the exact moment you knew she felt your need? What would change if you set a 2-invite max and then released without resentment? You think the good date should have earned momentum. She laughed, she leaned in, you walked her to her ride and didn't push. Then the next day, she's light with the emojis and vague with the plans. 2 days later, a selfie appears on her story with a caption about busy season. You feel the urge to compensate. This is where most men lose the frame. Your nervous system hates uncertainty, so you try to fix it with effort. But effort in the wrong place is gasoline on distance. The underlying psychology is simple and ruthless. Intermittent reinforcement hooks you. When her attention arrives unpredictably, your brain releases a stronger jolt of dopamine than if it were steady. That high keeps you chasing the next ping. Meanwhile, she's calibrating, sometimes consciously, often unconsciously, whether you can hold tension without collapsing. If you collapse, you confirm her suspicion. You're not a man with a center, you're a man looking for permission. Break the loop with rules you live, not slogans you post. When she cancels inside 24 hours, you reply once with, all good. Let's try another time. Then you don't propose the replacement. If she's invested, she will. If she isn't, the silence saves you weeks. When she sends a breadcrumb, what are you up to? At midnight after ignoring plans, you don't reward it with a paragraph. You answer honest and short, just wrapped up, early morning tomorrow. If she follows with substance, you meet it. If she drifts back to fluff, you let it pass. Your energy no longer chases, it filters. Not to punish, to protect your time. You respond to behavior, not potential. You stick to the 2-invite rule, twice you offer a clear plan. After that, you step back and live. You will face withdrawal as control. It looks like last-minute flakiness followed by heavy flirt the next day. Performative posts meant to spike your jealousy. Or the classic, we should hang soon with no dates attached. Your antidote is calm naming and decisive options. You're fun, but my time is tight. If we're meeting, let's lock Thursday or skip the chat. You say it with a smile, no edge. If she's playing to see if you'll bend, you don't. If she's genuinely disorganized, your clarity organizes the connection. If she goes quiet after you set a boundary, accept the message inside the silence. Her interest couldn't carry the weight of a plan. That's not a loss, that's data. Stop oversharing to buy closeness. Vulnerability is powerful when earned. It's repellent when used as currency. Share a real story after consistency shows up. 3 dates with momentum, not 3 nights of texting until 2 a.m. Stop doing late-night therapy by phone. If tough topics appear, you defer to in-person. That's a real conversation. Let's talk when we meet. You protect the mystery of your life by living it. Keep texting inside windows. Keep your voice low and slow on calls. Keep your invites concrete. Precision is attractive. Wednesday 7:30, small jazz spot on 5th. I'll grab us a table near the back. You lead with vision. You remain flexible without becoming a doormat. If she suggests an alternative that still requires effort, you adapt. Cool, Saturday afternoon tea at your spot works. And you stay in motion. Jealousy provocations are a test you pass by not taking. You don't comment on thirst traps. You don't like pictures to signal interest you already stated. You don't DM reactions to bait. If you see content meant to stir competition, you treat it as weather. If she brings other men into conversation to trigger your insecurity, you smile. Sounds like you've got options. I do too. Let's see if ours align. Your tone matters. Light, not bitter. You're not pretend cool. You're actually calm because your calendar and your mission are real. Build that mission. Train like it's your job. Stack skills that compound your income. Curate friends who sharpen you. Fill your week with movement, making, and momentum. A full life is not a tactic. It's the truth that makes indifference natural. When you can lose her and still keep your day intact, you become unmanipulable. Calm confrontation is a muscle. Practice the one-line reset when patterns repeat. I like directness. If plans slip again, let's pause. If she flakes twice, you don't threaten. You conclude. No worries, I'm stepping back. Be well. Then step back for real. Remove the chat, not as a dramatic gesture, but as hygiene. If she returns with genuine effort weeks later, you assess with your eyes, not your history. Has her behavior changed? Is she meeting you halfway? If yes, proceed slowly. If no, release again with zero resentment. You aren't punishing, you're pruning. Kindness and compliance are not the same. Kindness is generous and firm, warm and selective. Compliance is agreeable at any cost. Women feel the difference instantly. A kind man opens doors and also closes them when respect isn't mutual. He pays sometimes because he wants to, not to purchase gratitude. He listens deeply and still disagrees without apology. He can say, I like you, and in the same breath, this doesn't work for me. That paradox, soft heart, hard spine, is the signal of a man who cannot be steered by panic. When the anxiety spikes and you want to fix it with one more text, you choose a different ritual. Water, walk, weights, work. You return your attention to what you build. You let attraction reveal itself in actions over time. And because you are willing to lose anything that requires you to lose yourself, you become the one thing that cannot be faked. A man with gravity. Where have you mistaken compliance for kindness in the last month, and what did it cost you? Which withdrawal pattern hooks you the hardest? Flaking, breadcrumbs, or jealousy plays? And how will you answer it this week? If you had to write the one-line boundary you'll use next time, what would it say word for word? You stop guessing her interest and start measuring it. Not in theory, but in behaviors you can count. Think of interest like a dimmer, not a switch. 0 to 5. 0 is ghost. 1 is slow replies and no plans. 2 is friendly, but flaky. 3 is responsive with effort, but schedules are tight. 4 is initiating, suggesting, following through. 5 is momentum. You both lean in. Your rule is simple. Invest at parity or one notch below her level. If she's at a 2, you sit at a 1. If she rises to a 4, you meet at a 3 or 4. This protects your center and lets reality lead. You're no longer praying for signs, you're reading the dashboard. You set hard thresholds. 2 flakes and it's done, 1 disrespect, and you reset or release. Not punitive, protective. Attraction is not built by rescuing inconsistency. It's built by rewarding reciprocity. Stop turning your phone into a job. Use the 3-message funnel. Message 1. A light opener with signal of interest and a genuine thread from your last interaction. Message 2. A calibrated question to confirm vibe. Message 3. A clear plan with day, time, and place. If by the end of 3 messages there's no plan, you don't escalate chat, you de-escalate investment. Seems like timing's off. Ping me when it opens up. That sentence saves your dignity and your calendar. If she proposes an alternative, you adapt once. If she suggests sometime, you anchor Thursday 7:30 at Bark and Bean. If not, no stress. You are decisive with options, not needy with paragraphs. On the date, replace performance with presence. You slow your pace of speech by 10%. You hold eye contact until you feel it. Then you glance away casually and return. You listen for tension points, family, ambition, past relationships, where she says I should versus I want. You don't interrogate, but you ask one question that requires a story. What's a decision you made this year that changed your week to week? When she answers, you relate with one sentence from your world, not a monologue. You let silence breathe. That's where desire notices itself. Speak with edges. I'm not into endless texting. I like direct women. I work early, so I won't be out late. Boundaries weave the frame. You're warm, you tease lightly, you disagree without heat. When the energy is right, you move. Let's check out the bar next door, or walk me to the corner, I'll grab a car. Physical escalation is guided by attunement, not scripts. If she leans in, you match. If she slows, you slow. Seduction is the art of leaving room. Leave the date before comfort turns to dull. You pay if you invited and you want to. If she insists on splitting, read it as independence, not rejection. Post-date, you don't write a novel. You send, "I had fun. Wednesday next week works for round 2 if you're up for it." Then you put the phone down. If she responds with enthusiasm, you lock in. If she's vague, you give one more attempt later. If that floats, you release. You are never angry at reality. You are grateful for clarity. Your nervous system can learn this. The first time you let silence stand, your body will itch. That itch is withdrawal from chasing. You tolerate it like a workout burn. You channel it into your mission. Speaking of mission, you don't fabricate indifference. You build a life that makes it natural. Your weekly rhythm is non-negotiable. Training, skill acquisition, deep work, brotherhood, and recovery. You schedule them like dates with yourself. That forces selectivity because your time is already spoken for. Women feel scheduled men, not busy in the performative sense, but directed. When your days have spine, you become impossible to puppet. Your availability becomes a privilege, not a default. That shift alone changes everything about your tone, your patience, your attraction. You will face label pressure or exclusivity probes before consistency is real. You don't dodge, you define standards. I choose exclusivity when our actions already look like it. Weekly time together, mutual effort, and transparency. Until then, I'm keeping things simple. If that scares her off, good. Misalignment surfaced before chaos. If she's aligned, the container strengthens desire. Commitment without clarity is a trap, but commitment with standards is an accelerant. When sex becomes leverage, dangling intimacy for obedience, you step out of the game. I don't trade intimacy for compliance. If the vibe isn't mutual, let's slow down or call it. Calm, steady, no apology. When arguments arise, you don't debate via essay. You offer the in-person frame. This deserves tone and eyes. Tonight works or we table it. If she demands immediate resolution at 1 a.m., you protect your sleep and your next day. I'm off for the night. We'll talk tomorrow. You aren't avoiding. You're choosing the arena where couples actually solve things. Stop love bombing. If you feel the urge to gift, check the ledger of effort. Has she shown up 3 times with punctuality and warmth? Gift lightly. If not, save it. Stop turning good morning into a leash. Send it when you feel it, not as maintenance. Stop using plans to prove worth. Use them to test fit. The man who can say, "I like you, but this pace doesn't work for me," earns respect even from those who drift away. That's the paradox you must learn. The less you need to hold her, the easier it is for her to hold you. What part of the 3-message funnel will be hardest for you? Proposing early, anchoring a plan, or releasing when there's no momentum? When was the last time your body felt that itch to chase, and what did you do with it? If you wrote your personal thresholds on a card, 2 flakes, 1 disrespect, how would your week look different starting now? You need a system for chaos, because modern dating rewards the man who can keep his center while the room spins. Start with triage. Every woman you're talking to falls into one of 3 buckets: advance, backburner, or cut. Advance means she responds within a day, contributes ideas, and locks plans without gymnastics. You mirror and slightly lead. Backburner means the vibe is friendly but inconsistent. You keep the door open with light touch, an occasional story reply, or a simple check-in every couple of weeks. But you don't pour real energy until she shows it first. Cut means 2 flakes, or 1 disrespect, or a pattern of breadcrumbing with no concrete plan. You don't announce cuts. You enforce them by redirecting your time to training, brothers, work, and women who reciprocate. This removes resentment because you no longer manage people. You manage your calendar. Build a read of genuine interest you can test in the field. Look for 5 signals. Initiates at least sometimes, accepts concrete plans without delay, invests in logistics, offers rides, picks a spot, checks schedules, shows physical warmth that matches her words, and follows up after the date without you prompting. If you see 3 or more consistently, accelerate. If you see 1 or none, slow down. When signals are mixed, you don't argue with them. You verify with time. I'm free Wednesday 7:30, espresso bar on 8th. Join or we push. If she counters with a real alternative, you meet her. If she replies with vibe but no date, you don't decode. You disengage. Silence is not a challenge to overcome. It's an answer to respect. Learn the difference between space and the silent treatment. Space is mutual breathing room. It feels calm and productive. The silent treatment is weaponized withdrawal. It feels tense and punitive. When you sense the latter, after a boundary, after you declined a late-night plan, after you disagreed, you refuse to chase or collapse. You send one message that names and chooses the healthy path. We can pause if emotions run hot, but I don't do punishments. When you're ready to talk like a team, I'm here. Then you disappear into your life. No memes, no double texts, no monitoring. If she returns with openness, you proceed. If she returns with blame and games, you conclude. You are not a prosecutor, you are a gardener. You don't fight weeds, you cultivate standards until weeds can't grow. Practice the disagree and hold frame because attraction requires spine. When she presses you to change plans you care about, skip your gym, we'll be spontaneous. You smile. I like spontaneous after my session. I'll see you at 9. If she threatens interest, other guys would make time, you don't flinch. Then we're not a fit. That line terrifies men who fear loss, but it protects the one thing she actually needs to feel to respect you. That your priorities exist regardless of her approval. Keep your tone kind, your language brief, and your body relaxed. The calm you carry is the message. Your responses must be simple enough to use under adrenaline. Use the indifference protocol. Observe, name, invite. Wait, reallocate. Observe the pattern without drama. Name the frame once. Let's pick a time or park it. Invite a concrete step. Wait a full day with zero pursuit. Reallocate your energy to people who are already saying yes. Do this 3 times in 1 month and your nervous system will rewire. You will learn that the world doesn't end when you stop chasing. It opens. Stop trying to convince with words what hasn't been earned with experience. If she doubts your intentions, show up the next 2 times on time and present. If she worries about pace, slow down without sulking. If she says she needs clarity, give 1 sentence. I'm getting to know you. I'm not rushing exclusivity until our weeks already look like it. Then return to your life. Words should follow actions, never replace them. You are done compensating with language for what behavior fails to provide. Screen with questions that cut through surface. Early on, ask, how do you like to be led on dates? Watch for whether she can receive leadership or needs control. Ask, what does a respectful no look like for you? Healthy women can set boundaries without hostility. Ask, when do you feel most feminine? You're gauging polarity, not politics. Her answers don't have to match yours, but they must be coherent. You're not hunting for perfection, you're testing for fit. Build soft exits that save connection even when timing fails. I like your energy. If our schedules don't sync this month, I'm around. Be well. That keeps doors unlocked without you standing in the doorway. Months later, if she returns with effort, you're free to assess with fresh eyes. People circle back. The question isn't, does she come back? It's, does she return different? You accept only what aligns with the man you're becoming. This work is not about becoming cold. It's about becoming clear. The opposite of the nice guy isn't the jerk. It's the man whose kindness is chosen, whose time is guarded, and whose desire is expressed without bargaining. You don't have to raise your voice. You simply stop negotiating your value. The moment you do, games deflate. Real women lean in. The rest self-select out. That is success. Which of the 5 signals of genuine interest have you been ignoring lately, and why? Where did you reward the silent treatment with pursuit? And what will your indifference protocol message be next time, word for word? What's the one boundary you'll defend this week, even if it costs you a date? There's a moment every man faces when a woman presses the exact button that once made you abandon yourself. She hints you're not emotionally available because you wouldn't argue at 1 a.m. She compares you to a guy who just gets it. She threatens scarcity. Other men would. In the old days, you'd scramble to fix the image she has of you. Now you hold the frame. You breathe once, lower your shoulders, and choose the calm refusal. If you need a fight to feel connected, I'm not your guy. I do repair after sleep. You don't spike, you don't defend, you don't spin language to reclaim approval. You let the tension sit while you continue living. This is power. You refuse to earn love through chaos. You can't be manipulated by disapproval you didn't audition for. When accusations arrive, you don't care. You're cold. You only think of yourself. You switch to verification. Feelings are valid. Stories need evidence. You answer with one sentence and an option. I hear you're upset. If we're solving this, let's meet tomorrow at 7 and talk. If she keeps swinging from behind a screen, you end the round. I'm off this thread. We can talk when we're face to face. You're not punishing. You're protecting the arena where adults resolve things. If she refuses and escalates the shaming, you're done. Block if necessary, not to wound, but to stop hemorrhaging your focus. Boundaries are boring to healthy people and offensive to manipulators. Let that teach you who you're with. Public tests are the hardest because ego tempts you to perform. She pokes you in front of friends, flirts with the waiter, or remarks, "He never plans anything," while you're paying the bill. Old you would go soft or furious. New you uses the two-seat rule. For every scene, there's a front row and a backstage. Front row gets charm and a smile. We'll chat later. Backstage, you set the line. I don't do call-outs in public. If it happens again, I'll leave. Then if it happens again, you leave. Leaving is the only sentence pride respects. You don't slam doors. You stand, pay your part, and go home. If she reaches out with humility, you may try again. If she blames, you don't teach adults respect. You select for it. Apology discipline matters. Do not apologize for your standards. Apologize only for your impact when you actually misstep, snap tone, miss time, careless words, and then repair with behavior. I was short earlier. That's on me. Coffee tomorrow to reset. Your apology does not beg. It names and proceeds. Do not chase apologies either. If she won't own clear harm, lying about plans, disrespecting your time, humiliating you socially, you treat it as a data point, not a debate. Chronic non-apology is a forecast. You don't need a storm to believe the weather app. When intimacy appears, keep sovereignty in your body. You escalate only when the vibe, the logistics, and consent align. Eyes warm, speech slows, space closes, hands reciprocate. If she teases and yanks away to test your need, you smile and step back. All good. I'm not in a rush. You don't pout, you don't pressure, you don't perform. Tease withdrawal stops working on men who won't trade their dignity for a kiss. Ironically, that's when genuine heat shows up, because she can relax. There's no negotiation happening underneath touch. Build social proof the real way, with a life that other people can feel. You host dinners, not for Instagram, but for connection. You bring two friends who sharpen you everywhere you go. You learn names, bartenders, baristas, hosts, because relationships compound. You tip well and thank staff. You move with ease because you practice being in rooms. That energy translates on dates without a word. A man with roots doesn't need to impress. His presence does the talking. The nice guy tries to be liked. The grounded man offers belonging to those who fit. Don't overcorrect into hardness. The edge is for your boundaries. Your heart stays open. If she's nervous, you notice and slow the moment. If she shares something heavy, you don't fix. You witness and ask one curious question. You give compliments sparingly and specifically. That emerald dress with your eyes is lethal, because specificity proves presence. You tease without undercutting esteem, and you disagree without humiliation. Your masculinity is not a wall, it's a doorframe, firm enough to hold the house, warm enough to invite someone in. When you're tempted to relapse into performance, you use the pause and pivot ritual. You stop mid-text, put the phone down, do 10 slow breaths, and ask, am I trading self-respect for attention? If yes, you pivot to a mission task you can complete in 15 minutes. A set, an email, a page, a clean kitchen. You give your nervous system a win. Then, from that steadier state, you decide whether to send the message or let it die. Most will die. That's growth measured in unsent paragraphs. Set relationship containers before you're in one. Your standards are simple and speakable. Honesty without theatrics, weekly time in person, 48-hour repair window for conflicts, public respect, private candor, shared responsibility for plans, phones down on dates. You don't demand these. You live them and reveal them. The right woman won't feel controlled, she'll feel safe. The wrong woman will call it rules. Believe her. Your future peace is built on the standards you enforce today, not the feelings you declare tonight. Where do you still try to earn connection through chaos? Late-night debates, public performances, or over-apologizing? What would your one-sentence public-to-backstage line sound like the next time you're tested in front of others? If you wrote your relationship container in 3 sentences, what would it say right now exactly? Here's how you build a life where attraction happens inside your gravity, not because you're pulling on anyone. You set the boundaries with yourself that make every other boundary effortless. No phone before you move your body and move your mind. Water, sunlight, 10 minutes of breath or sweat, then the day's single highest leverage task. You do not open chats to regulate anxiety. Midday, you check messages in one window and you make one concrete invite if the vibe earned it. Evenings, you decide in advance whether it's a work night, a training night, or a date night. Structure saves you from improvising your dignity. That's the root of detachment. Not pretending not to care, but caring in a disciplined way that never sells your center for a dopamine hit. The man with a spine doesn't need to act alpha. He's too busy living a code. You need a long-game protocol for when momentum becomes relationship. Think in quarters, not days. For the first 90 days, your standard is consistency over chemistry. You meet weekly in person, you plan together at least half the time, conflict gets addressed within 48 hours face-to-face, and public respect is non-negotiable. Sex never becomes leverage. If tension rises, you talk, not bargain. You watch how she handles no, how she treats service workers, whether her words match her calendar. You lead gently, you receive influence gladly, and you keep your mission hot. At day 90, you assess with your eyes, not your hopes. Are we building or buffering? If it's building, define the container out loud. If it's buffering, step back without theatrics. You aren't breaking anything. You're refusing to waste both people's time. You also need an exit protocol for when your body feels the old panic. The moment you sense yourself reaching, typing a paragraph to explain realities that don't need explanation, you run the 3-beat reset. Close the chat. Change state with movement or cold water. Choose one hard thing that advances your life in the next 15 minutes. When the adrenaline fades, you send one sentence or you send nothing. You never argue with silence. If she wants to repair, she will meet you in the arena you set. I'll meet you at 7. We'll talk like a team. If she wants drama, she will try to pull you back onto the screen. She can't, because you belong to your standards now. When an ex circles back, you don't punish or sprint. You verify with a bridge. Coffee's fine. I'm only interested if we can do it differently. Clarity, consistency, no public digs. Then you watch behavior for 3 weeks. Does she schedule? Does she follow through? Does she own her part without legalistic accounting? If yes, you proceed slowly. If no, you release, kindly, cleanly, immediately. You don't keep doors open as trophies. You keep your house quiet so your future can hear you. Indifference does not mean you stop feeling. It means you stop begging. You can adore a woman and still walk away from patterns that violate your peace. You can be intensely attracted and still say, not at this cost. That self-command is not a trick to get her back. It's your way of staying whole whether she returns or not. The paradox is timeless. Women trust men who can lose them because those men won't lose themselves. That trust, not tactics, is the deepest engine of desire. You become the safe adventure, the challenge with a net, the flame that doesn't burn the house down. Make your invitations from truth, not fear. I want to see you. Thursday 8 works. If not, I'm off-grid this weekend. You never whisper the second sentence, you live it. When she reciprocates, receive her fully. Attention present, phone away, laughter real. When she hesitates, give her space without turning cold. Warmth with boundaries is the signal of a man who's chosen. Every yes you give must be paid from surplus, not from the rent due on your self-respect. Every no you give is fertilizer for the future because it teaches your nervous system that you are the one person who will not abandon you. You will still slip. You'll still send a needy text sometimes and you'll feel it the second it leaves. You won't hide from that data point, you'll integrate it. You'll journal the trigger, tighten the window, revisit your code. You'll apologize when you actually wound, not when someone is disappointed that you have a spine. You'll leave rooms that punish standards, and you'll stay in rooms that reward growth. Over time, the contrast will become obvious. Women who try to co-author your piece versus women who audition you for their chaos. You won't hate the latter, you'll simply stop applying. If you want a line that protects you in any moment, here it is. You never negotiate attraction, and you never negotiate self-respect. You lead with clarity, you respond to behavior, you accept loss, and you choose a life that keeps your heart open and your spine unbent. The nice guy dies when you replace covert contracts with honest leadership, when you replace approval chasing with mission, and when you replace fear of loss with fear of self-betrayal. That's when you stop asking, "How do I make her stay?" and start living the question that actually builds love. How do I stay myself no matter who stays? Which part of your code needs tightening right now? Your morning boundaries, your 48-hour conflict rule, or your 2-invite maximum? What pattern in you keeps trying to buy closeness, and what will you replace it with this week that builds your life? Who needs to feel your new standard today through calm action, not another speech? She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.